everybody. Carl Bishop here. Today I'm joined by Daniel Windler with ATD Property Inspections. Daniel's inspector that we've worked with for years now and a member of our brand ambassador program. So Daniel, glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself.
Yes, I am, a veteran, a Marine veteran, hoorah. Military is a big part of what I am about and care about, etc. Home inspector, I'm also a plumber by trade, general contractor. I've been in construction, been a part of 30 plus years, both residential and commercial, industrial. Today, what I do is primarily home inspecting and consulting, and I'm here to help any way I can.
Love it, love it. And Daniel, thank you for your service. I know I've told you that once before, but we certainly appreciate it. I'm curious, Daniel, you did your military service. What was your background before getting into real estate inspection?
Well, yeah, is plumbing really, pipe fitting, welding, that kind of a thing. I grew up in it. I went to trade school briefly before I joined the Marine Corps. So I kind of fell back into it once I got out. But yeah.
Okay. And what made you really want to go into home inspection? I mean, plumbing's a great industry. What made you want to really get into it more?
Well, the last, 14 years before I got into home inspecting, I was doing what's called water and fire restoration. So I was dealing primarily with residential losses, whether it be water or fire or whatever, hail damage, roof damage, any kind of damage that is covered by your homeowner's insurance. So I dealt with that as far as repairing it, drying it out, that kind of a thing. So I dealt with a lot of issues with the home. I worked with a lot of people and their disasters, getting them back on their feet. So I really liked the service industry of it. I liked the, helping people. So that, it just made me, at the end of the day, I felt good about it, what I could do to help somebody. So I just kind of, as I'm getting older, I don't want to carry the tools so much anymore. So I like the idea of inspecting. I'm still, helping people. So that's kind of how I morphed into home inspecting.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
There's something that we've run into from time to time. And, every now and then, especially it seems like it's more prevalent with first-time home buyers. You get on, they're on board, they want to buy their own home, but they get that inspection report back and man, they get a lot of fear because let's be honest, I mean, even brand new homes, I mean, there's a lot of things that come up on an inspection report. What do you do to kind of help people get over those fears? And, at the end of the day, if you find a major problem, you're going to make sure that, it's an issue that they either get out of or negotiate through.
Right.
But how do you handle that? Because a lot of newer people and a lot of our newer agents struggle with that, which is that fear kind of takes over. How do you handle that?
No, that's a great question, and you're exactly right. With my background, I literally could fix anything. So yeah, some things are more challenging than like the broken, plug plate is $1.50 at Home Depot. Come in, unscrew the old, screw the new in. So yeah, I like to have that conversation before and after, right? The inspection, especially after maybe a brand new home buyer that's never, they've always rented or what have you. And they relied on other people to fix what's wrong. Now it's on them to fix what's might be wrong and maintain their home over the coming years. So yeah, I like to have that conversation. Certain things that can be can you fix it on your own? Are you pretty handy with tools, or do you have family members that are pretty handy, maybe plumbers, electricians, or whatever? But yeah, there's certain things that are easy to fix, others that are not so easy. Can they be negotiated uh, to get repaired, kind of a thing? Is it, with my background in insurance, I'm also a licensed insurance adjuster. Can the seller's homeowner's policy repair that roof or replace it? So there's a lot of options that are on the table, possibly, to get past those hurdles.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
easy. So I know that with a lot of our agents, at times when they're looking at an inspection report, this is a seller's market. We just had a discussion about this in our mastermind meeting just now, which is, in a seller's market, the sellers have a lot of options, and therefore, if you're making repair requests, a lot of them are just really non-committal to doing them. It works opposite in a buyer's market, where they have to do a little bit more, and repairs are given a little bit more consideration.
Right.
If you have an inspection report, what is it that you're looking for exactly that is pretty much a must get done by the seller in most cases, average case?
No, that's another great question. And I always tell people my biggest job, I suppose, is safety. When I go into a home, can I flip a light switch and it does what it's supposed to without, shocking you? It's funny, because last week I looked at a home for a brand new, couple as new home buyers, and they went to flip the light switch, the same switch that I had just touched, but they both got shocked by the light switch by just flipping it in.
This is a brand new home?
Yeah, it was. So I said, okay, show me exactly what you did. So they recreated. It didn't shock them, but they slowly flipped the switch up. So I, talked to them. Okay, first of all, So I took the cover off. I looked at it. I didn't see any glaring issues as far as wiring goes. So I said, well, we'll point that out. Have an electrician look at it later. But just keep in mind, the switch, you have to flip it up all the way. You can't hesitate, because it may arc that connection, and you may get a shock. The newer switches aren't like that, like the older switches, but it's still a possibility anyway. So I'm not sure if it was static electricity or the switch itself was faulty. So, things like that, that we take for granted. Is the hot water scalding hot as it comes out? Is a window broken? Whatever it may be. The smoke alarms. Safety is a big issue when I look at a home. Of course, the big ticket items that could cost a lot of money: a roof, a foundation, a AC system, that could be, easily fixed, or maybe not so easily fixed, price-wise or time-wise. Those are all, again, hurdles that definitely the sellers need to look at, maybe, figure out a plan to replace or repair those things.
Said, man. Well said. Safety first, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because like I said, my background, I've seen, I could spend weeks talking about the disasters I've seen.
Yeah.
So
You brought up a very good point with like new home construction, because, and I'm not saying all the builders do it, but I've seen a lot of builders cut a lot of corners, and
yes,
I've seen a lot of builders, especially when they get busy, they use a bunch of different subs, and the subs may not be qualified or may not be experienced. How important is getting an inspection done on a new home, especially these days, as they're building so many of them all the time?
yeah, that's another great question. And excuse me, a lot of people, whoever they may be, buyers, sellers, realtors, anybody, they have this misconception that it's a new home. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, I disagree because I've seen it firsthand. I know it can happen either by accident or on purpose, as far as damage or things left out of a new build. And that's my job to try to discover, things that were damaged or left. I looked at a brand new, build one time, and none of the electric outlets in the kitchen worked. I mean, they're dead. Uh, the breaker worked, so there was something in the wall that the electrician didn't connect. So that was, an important discovery. Another instance where there's an island sink, is a big, almost 4,000 square foot home. An Air Force couple were buying it, and there was no hot water piped to the kitchen sink. So I was like, okay, that's kind of odd. Let's figure out. And yeah, same thing. The plumber forgot to run that pipe to the kitchen sink. So things like that, like say, get left out, get forgotten or broken, or another trade breaks it. So yeah, getting a home inspection. And I always tell people, I always find things. There's no perfect home as far as construction wise. I always find things. Um, so yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. I think, these homes are built by humans, and
Right.
humans, we make mistakes, and it doesn't necessarily, mean that it's bad. It just means that, you got to have somebody like you that can come in,
Yeah.
catch the mistakes, right?
Right. Right.
Well,
That's a good point. You don't, people get tied up and they've got to have a perfect home, mechanically. And, I, again, go back to talking to the clients, um, set the expectation, you know, okay, I'm going to find something. So just let's talk about that, how to fix it, how to, what to expect when you see the report. So you don't have to be afraid of it. Just, you guys decided you want to look at this home. I'm here to help you be a more informed buyer. That's what I feel like my job is too.
love that. A tremendous resource for folks, and
Right.
so, you know, Daniel, we're getting to the end of our interview, but I just want to give you an opportunity. We've got quite a few listeners and people that watch these videos through YouTube and some of our social media stuff. San Antonio is a military city, USA. A lot of folks want to work with a retired military person or personnel. So tell us anything that you'd like our audience and our clients to hear about your company. And of course, you already have our trust. And so anybody that's maybe on the fence or doesn't know who to use, or a good inspector, why should they use you?
Well, yeah, that's good. That's a good point that you bring up. My thing is the experienced eye. What I mean by that is there's a lot. You're right. There's a lot of inspectors out there. There's a lot of realtors out there. There's a lot of everybody out there that say they can do things. Um, I bring to the table an experience that can't be bought. It can't be learned out of a book or through an exam. I've got 35 plus years of construction as a plumber, as a general contractor, both commercial and residential. I've seen how a home can be damaged, uh, and I bring that to the table. I bring that to every inspection, every home that I look at. So that's one thing. The other is I try to offer as many services as I can, and I'm building on that as far as termite inspections, WDIs, which VA requires
Correct.
99% of the time. So yeah, I mean, I've used my VA many times, and I've helped, again, veterans and active duty use their VA. As far as that goes, the inspection side goes. There's that. I also do pool and spa inspections, septic. As the city grows, the demand for infrastructure grows. So they're requiring residents to have a private septic system instead of having to tie into the local sewer system. So you're going to see more and more of those as newer, developments spring up. So that the demand to, inspect them right, is going to grow. So I included that in what I do as well.
Love it, man. Love it. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing, Daniel. And again, folks, this is Daniel Windler with ATD Property Inspections. Give him a shot. He's one of the best inspectors that I know. And we're so happy to have you on board with the Brand Ambassador program.
Thank you.
Okay. See you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.